If you have submitted a Canada visitor visa application and you are sitting there wondering, what is actually happening with my file right now? How long is this going to take after biometrics? And has anything changed recently that affects my timeline? This video was made specifically for you. IRCC published its latest processing time update on July 2, 2026. And the numbers are not the same across the board. Some countries have seen significant improvements. Some are holding steady. And some, including applicants from Nigeria, are actually seeing slightly longer wait times than before. I am going to walk you through every important update, what the current processing timelines look like by country, what actually happens step by step after you submit biometrics, why some applications take significantly longer than others, and what you can do right now to make sure your application moves as fast as possible. Let us get straight into it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Praise and I run Social and Travels, a travel and migration company that helps people navigate visa applications and international relocation. If you are watching this in July 2026 and you have a Canada visitor visa application in progress, this is exactly the update you need. Everything in this video is based on the most current available IRCC data as of the July 2, 2026 processing time update. Let us go. The most recent IRCC processing time update was published on July 2, 2026. This update covers temporary residence applications, including visitor visas, study permits, work permits, and super visas, across all applicant countries globally. Here is what the data actually shows. Visitor visa, the headline changes. The July 2, 2026 update shows that visitor visa processing times shortened for applications from Canada, India, and Pakistan compared to the previous update from June 24. This is positive movement. Improvements in two of the highest volume application countries suggest that IRCC's operational capacity is being targeted effectively at the most congested processing pipelines. However, and this is important for a significant portion of viewers, visitor visa processing times for applications from Nigeria and the United States actually faced slightly longer waits in this same update. Nigeria specifically is currently sitting at approximately 59 to 61 days for visitor visa processing, meaning applicants from Nigeria should budget approximately 2 months from the point of biometric submission to a final decision, and potentially longer during peak application seasons. Work permits, notable improvement. Work permit wait times continue to improve for applicants in Canada and Nigeria, falling by 15 days and 1 week respectively in the most recent update. This is a separate category from visitor visas but worth noting if you are tracking multiple application types. Study permits, moving in the opposite direction. Study permit processing times actually increased by 1 week for applicants applying from within Canada and from India in the July update. No improvements were reported for study permits in this cycle. If you have a study permit application in progress alongside a visitor visa application, be aware that these are moving in different directions right now. Super visa, the standout improvement. The most dramatic improvement in the entire July 2026 IRCC update is in the super visa category. Official IRCC data shows that super visa processing for Indian applicants has dropped to approximately 50 days, down from earlier averages closer to 66 days. For US-based super visa applicants, processing is now nearly 3 weeks. For Philippines-based applicants, approximately 10 days. For Pakistan-based applicants, approximately 1 week. The super visa improvement is significant and marks one of the most meaningful category-specific gains in Canada's temporary residence system this year. The broader picture. IRCC has a stated aim of bringing the Canada visitor visa processing time to a 60-day global standard by the fourth quarter of 2026. Given that the fastest offices are already clearing files in 2 to 3 weeks and the slowest are running at up to 157 days for certain applicants, that 60-day global standard remains an ambitious but directionally credible target rather than a current reality. Let me now give you the country-by-country breakdown of where visitor visa processing times currently stand as of the July 2026 update. These figures are based on median post-biometrics timelines from applicant-reported data and the latest IRCC service standards, not official guarantees, since IRCC processing is always subject to individual case factors. But they give you the most realistic current picture available. India. India is Canada's highest volume visitor visa source country, generating over 600,000 applications annually, processed primarily through the New Delhi and Chandigarh visa offices with overflow routing to Abu Dhabi, Manila, and other offices. Current processing time for Indian applicants after biometrics is approximately 21 to 22 days in the July update, slightly improved from the previous 22 to 23 days. This places India among the faster processing high-volume countries, reflecting targeted operational capacity improvements at the India-focused visa offices. However, peak season applications submitted between April and July often see timelines stretch to 14 weeks for more complex cases. Nigeria. Nigeria currently sits at approximately 59 to 61 days for visitor visa processing, making it one of the slower processing countries in the current IRCC system. This is slightly longer than the previous update cycle, and it reflects the combination of elevated application volumes, the depth of background and security verification required for Nigerian applicants, and the specific workload at the visa offices handling Nigerian applications. Applicants from Nigeria should realistically plan for 8 to 9 weeks from biometric submission to a final decision as their baseline expectation, with the possibility of longer timelines for more complex cases or those submitted during peak season. Pakistan. Pakistan is currently in the 8 to 12-week processing range for visitor visas, with peak season applications potentially pushing toward 14 weeks. This places Pakistan in a similar processing tier to Nigeria in terms of overall wait time. Philippines. The Philippines currently processes visitor visa applications in approximately 4 to 8 weeks, placing it in the mid-range of processing times globally. Mexico. Mexico is currently among the faster processing countries, with visitor visa timelines of approximately 4 to 6 weeks. The Mexico City VAC is one of IRCC's more efficient high-volume processing locations. Western Europe, Germany, France, UK, Netherlands. Western European applicants are consistently among the fastest to receive decisions, typically 2 to 3 weeks post-biometrics. German and French applicants in particular often see decisions in as little as 2 weeks for straightforward, well-documented applications. China. China is currently processing in approximately 4 to 8 weeks, varying by the specific VAC handling the application and the complexity of individual cases. UAE. UAE-based applicants are currently among the faster processing locations globally, with timelines typically in the 2 to 4 week range post-biometrics. Iran. Iran currently holds the maximum processing time in the IRCC system, approximately 157 days. This is a significant outlier reflecting the specific complexity of security screening for Iranian applicants and the current bilateral relationship between Canada and Iran. The key pattern to understand. Processing times are not random. They are driven by 3 primary factors: the volume of applications from your country, the refusal rate historically associated with your country of origin, and the depth of background and security checks that IRCC conducts for applicants from your specific country. Countries with high volumes, elevated refusal rates, or more complex security screening requirements consistently experience longer processing times than lower volume or lower risk countries. Online applications also process approximately 30% faster than paper applications. If you have not yet submitted and you have the option, always apply online. This is the question most people are typing into YouTube right now. What actually happens after biometrics? Let me walk through the full process from the moment you submit your biometrics to the moment you receive a final decision. Stage 1. Biometric instruction letter and collection. After you submit your visitor visa application online through the IRCC portal, IRCC typically sends you a biometric instruction letter within a few days. You then have 30 days to complete biometrics at a designated collection center, usually a VFS Global or Visa Application Center location. Your biometrics consist of a digital fingerprint scan and a photograph. This is a critical point that many applicants misunderstand. Your processing clock does not start from the date you submit your application. It starts from the date IRCC receives confirmation that your biometrics have been submitted. Until biometrics are on file, your application sits waiting and no processing occurs. This is why scheduling your biometrics appointment as quickly as possible after receiving your instruction letter is so important. Every day you wait to book biometrics is a day of processing time you are losing. Stage 2, R10 Completeness Check. The first thing IRCC does once your biometrics are on file is run what is called a Regulation 10 check, commonly referred to as the R10 Completeness Check. This is an administrative screening to confirm that all required forms have been submitted, all fees have been paid, your passport information is complete and correct, your biometrics confirmation is on file, and all basic required documents have been uploaded correctly and are legible. If anything is missing or clearly incorrect at this stage, your application can be returned or flagged for document requests before full review even begins. This is a completely avoidable delay. The single best way to pass a 10 without issues is to go through the IRCC document checklist exhaustively before submission and ensure every document is uploaded clearly, completely, and in the correct format. Stage 3, Eligibility and Background Review. Once your file passes the R10 check, it moves into substantive review. A visa officer assesses your application against the core eligibility criteria for the Canada Visitor Visa, also known as the Temporary Resident Visa or TRV. This review considers your purpose of visit. Is it genuine, specific, and consistent across all your documents? Your ties to your home country. Do you have compelling reasons to return after your visit? Your financial capacity. Do your bank statements show sufficient funds to cover your trip? Your travel history. Have you previously traveled internationally and respected visa conditions? Your application history. Have you applied to Canada before, and if so, what was the outcome? This stage is where most delays happen for complex cases. If your file is flagged for any reason, inconsistent information, a previous refusal, security screening requirements, or requests for additional documentation, your processing time extends beyond the standard timeline. Stage 4, Background and Security Checks. Running parallel to or following the eligibility review, IRCC conducts background checks through Canadian law enforcement and intelligence databases, cross-references your information against immigration records, and, for applicants from certain countries, conducts additional security screening. This stage is largely invisible to the applicant but is one of the primary reasons why processing times vary so dramatically by country of origin. Applicants from countries with elevated security screening requirements simply take longer at this stage regardless of the quality of their individual application. Stage 5, Possible additional document requests. At any point in the review process, a visa officer may issue a request for additional documents, requesting further evidence of financial ties, an updated bank statement, employment verification, or any other information they need to make their decision. Responding to these requests as quickly as possible, ideally within 24 to 48 hours, is critical. Every day you delay in responding to a document request is a day added to your processing timeline, and some visa offices have internal cutoffs after which a non-response results in a file being closed. Stage 6, Final Decision. Once the officer has completed their review and all checks are clear, they make a final decision, approval, refusal, or in some cases a request for an interview. The vast majority of visitor visa applications do not require an interview. Interviews are requested for a minority of cases where the officer needs additional information that cannot be assessed from documents alone. If approved, you receive a passport request letter, also called the PPR, asking you to submit your passport for visa stamping. The stamping process typically takes 7 to 14 days once your passport is received. If refused, you receive a refusal letter explaining the reasons. Read this letter carefully. It is your roadmap for any future application. If you are watching this video because your application has been processing for longer than the stated timeline and you are starting to worry, let me give you the honest picture of why this happens and what it means. Reason 1. Your application is in a backlogged queue. IRCC processes applications roughly in the order they are received, but applications from higher volume countries are assigned to specific visa offices that may have different backlogs. If you applied during April, May, June, or July, peak application season, your file entered a larger queue than applications submitted in quieter months like January or February. Reason 2. Your file requires additional security screening. Some applications trigger additional background checks that are not visible to the applicant. These checks take additional time and there is nothing you can do to expedite them. This is particularly common for applicants from certain countries and for applicants with previous travel to certain regions. Reason 3. Your file was flagged for complexity. A previous refusal, inconsistent information between your application form and supporting documents, a gap in your travel history, or any number of other factors can cause a visa officer to spend more time on your file than average. Reason 4. Your biometrics were submitted later than optimal. If you waited several weeks after receiving your biometric instruction letter to actually submit your biometrics, your processing clock started later than it could have. Combined with a seasonal backlog, this can add weeks to your overall timeline. What to do if your application is exceeding the published processing time? If your application has exceeded the published processing time for your country, you can contact IRCC through the web form on the official IRCC website to inquire about your file status. Be patient. IRCC receives a very large number of web form inquiries and responses can take several weeks themselves. Do not call the IRCC contact center for routine status inquiries. This is specifically noted by IRCC as something applicants are advised not to do for applications already in processing. Use the online tracker and web form. Let me be honest about something important. There is no legal way to pay for faster processing of a standard visitor visa. IRCC does not offer priority processing for visitor visas the way it does for some other categories. However, there are several things you can do that directly influence how quickly your file moves through the system. Submit your biometrics the day you receive your instruction letter, or as close to it as possible. Book your biometric appointment immediately. Every day you wait to submit biometrics is a day your processing clock has not started. In countries where VAC appointments are available quickly, this is entirely within your control. Apply online rather than on paper. Online applications process approximately 30% faster than paper applications. If you have the option to apply online and have not yet submitted, choose online. Submit a complete, well-organized, and clearly legible application from the start. The single most avoidable cause of processing delays is an incomplete application that fails the R10 completeness check or triggers a document request mid-review. Go through the IRCC document checklist item by item before submission. Ensure every document is uploaded, legible, clearly labeled, and in the correct format. Bank statements should show full transaction history, not just a balance snapshot. Employment letters should be on official letterhead and signed. Every detail of your application form should match your documents exactly. Respond to any IRCC document requests immediately. Check your IRCC online account and the email address registered to your application every single day. If IRCC sends a request for additional documents, respond as fast as possible, ideally within 24 hours. A delayed response adds directly to your processing time. Apply outside of peak season where possible. Applications submitted between October and February consistently experience shorter processing times than those submitted between April and August. If your travel dates are flexible and you have not yet submitted, consider whether timing your submission to a quieter season could meaningfully improve your experience. Ensure your application tells a consistent, specific, and credible story. Your purpose of visit should be specific and the same across every document. your application form, your cover letter, your invitation letter if applicable. Your financial documents should tell a clear story of stable income and sufficient funds. Your employment or business documents should confirm what your application form states. Inconsistencies, even small ones, trigger additional review and add time. One of the most common sources of anxiety during the processing period is not understanding what the status messages in your IRCC online account actually mean. Let me walk through the most common ones. Application received. IRCC has received and acknowledged your application. Processing has not yet begun in most cases, particularly if biometrics have not yet been submitted. We received your biometrics. Your biometrics have been confirmed received. This is the moment your processing clock officially starts. Note the date carefully. This is your reference point for tracking against the published processing timeline. In progress. Your application is actively being reviewed. This is the status most applicants sit at for the majority of their wait time. In progress does not mean anything is wrong, it simply means a decision has not yet been made. Decision made. A decision has been reached on your application. This does not tell you whether it is an approval or refusal. You will receive notification separately, either a passport request letter for approval or a refusal letter. We need more information from you. A document request has been issued. Check your account immediately and your registered email. The specific request will be detailed in your messages. Respond as quickly as possible. And that is the complete picture. The July 2026 IRCC Visitor Visa Update, the country-by-country processing times, what happens step by step after biometrics, why some applications take longer, and what you can do to keep your application moving as fast as possible. The most important things to remember: your processing clock starts when IRCC receives your biometrics, not when you submit your application. Submitting early, applying online, and submitting a complete and consistent application are the three most impactful things you can do. And if you are from Nigeria specifically, build approximately 8 to 9 weeks into your planning timeline from biometrics to decision. If this video helped clarify something confusing about your Canada Visitor Visa application, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone else who is navigating this process right now. Subscribe for more Canada immigration updates, visa guides, and processing time breakdowns. I cover these updates regularly as IRCC releases them. Drop your country and your current application status in the comments. I read every single one and will give you honest, specific guidance where I can. And if you need professional support with your Canada Visitor Visa application, from document preparation to cover letter strategy, reach out to Social and Travels. The link is in the description. Good luck with your application. See you in the next video.